Good morning and welcome to the shop. Glad you could join me. Now, we've got plenty to do here in the shop today. Don't let the clean workbench fool you. But first, we need to go get some materials. So we're going to go on a bit of a field trip. So come on along with me and let's go for a ride. We are on a mission to collect some pallet wood for our latest project. And, you know, little industrial parks like this are great for collecting pallets. A lot of these places get deliveries and then they take their pallets and stick them out back. Some even put them by the road. And if you check in with them, you can typically just hop in the front office and stick your head in the door and just ask if the pallets are free for the taking. Most will say take what you need. I think it's important to check first, obviously. Now, I've already stopped in and checked with these folks and they are more than happy to let me take them. As you can see, those pallets would fill up their dumpsters, and so they're happy to have somebody come and take them. So just have to be aware that you're dealing with a business that's open for business. So if they've got trucks coming in or whatever, you're gonna have to make way for those and let them continue on doing their business. But as long as I respect that and I do my business and let them do theirs, they pretty much leave me alone. So here are the basic tools that I use for disassembling a pallet. I've got a couple of different crowbars. I've got a hammer, mallet. I've got a little nail puller if I need to use those. And then I've got, this, what I call pallet buster, a homemade pallet buster that I made out of a piece of fence post and some iron that I picked up along the railroad tracks. And we'll show you how we're going to use that. I think as I'm looking here, I'm going to probably try to get this piece with some longer pieces and some nicer pieces first. So I'm going to have to pull these pieces off. And again, I think that it's important to be respectful of the business that you're at. Don't make a mess. Try to keep things stacked as neatly as possible. And I make it a personal standard of mine to always take all the pieces and I'll dispose of anything I don't need rather than leaving it for this business to have to deal with. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube where people taking pallets apart. They make it look easy, but I'm telling you, it can be some work. So be prepared to have to put some effort into this process. As I said, I'm going to take these with me. I don't need them, but I'm not going to leave them for the business to have to deal with. These are some nice wide boards. I'm sure that I can use them for something on this project. If not this project, then another project. This is actually coming apart actually quite easily, so pretty happy with this. Well, that's that first pallet all disassembled. Now I'll take those 3 pieces over there and I'll throw them in the vehicle and I'll take them apart when I get back to the shop, as well as the nails out of here. I've got a little device that'll help me get the nails out pretty quick, so I don't mess with that here. I certainly don't want to leave the nails laying all over the grass in the parking lot here for them. So I'll load these up and maybe take 1 or 2 more pallets and we'll get back and get going on disassembling these even more. Well, I got that first one all loaded up. I'm gonna see about taking this next one apart here with these long stringers. Those always come in useful. I don't know so much about that middle one, but as I said, I'll take it all with me and we'll sort it out later. Now what we try to avoid when we're taking these apart is splitting these things as we're taking them apart. Where these nails go in, they're prone to splitting. And one way to avoid that is to, especially on these end pieces here, come in from the end and the grain actually helps you a little bit. It pulls right up, there's no splitting there. So these center ones will be a little more tricky, but by then we've got both ends up. There we go. Let's see if I can get this one out without splitting it. Yeah, it's gonna come apart. I'll just take it like that, and like I said, we'll clean it up back at the shop. Okay, so that's that pallet. I've really got about as much as I need, but we did get a chance to use our pallet buster, so I think I'm going to take this one apart using that pallet buster just to give you an idea how that works, and maybe have an opportunity to point out a few tricks of the trade that I figured out with it. So I'll load that up and then we'll get to work on that. So this is the one we're going to take apart with the pallet buster. It's already got a couple of split pieces on it, but the rest of them look pretty good. And again, I want to just show you how that pallet buster works and sort of the order that I've found that works best in taking them apart. And then I think I'll have plenty. I may come back for this top piece here at some point. It looks like this is either redwood or some kind of cedar on the top. It's got a couple of nice stringers to it. The wood's pretty thin, and some of it's pretty beat up already, so I don't know. We'll see. I would also say that one of the things that I've learned is that these painted pallets, which are pretty solid, they're made of pretty thick wood, are also treated. That's what that blue paint is. It's a preservative, and if you're going to work with that in terms of sanding it or planing it down or even cutting it, a lot of those particulates are going to get in the air. I try to stay away from them just because I really don't know what's in them, and I'd hate to breathe in anything that's not good for me, and I would just caution you against picking those up. So enough of that. Let's get to work on this one. So the very first thing I do is try to find a place where I can get through on one of the ends and then work from one end to the other. This one I can get through here and try to stick it under as much as possible. And then, you just got to put your back into it. A lot of these are really in there tight, so we'll see how this goes. That one seems to be coming up pretty good, but you want to get one end like that, pull it out, and then get the other end and get it in as far as you can. That avoids as much of the wood splitting as possible. Okay, and then once those two ends are done, you can go back to the center, and there you go. Okay, now we turn it around and we start on the ends again, but we turn it around, we go the other way. Outside, outside, middle. Outside, outside, middle. And the reason I don't start with the middle and then get the ends is I can get that centerpiece, do this end, but then this one gets a little problematic. See, it doesn't want to come up, so you got to step on this anyhow. And then this one's all split, but we'll take it, get it out of their hair. Okay, there's that. We'll turn it over, get these last few stringers out of the way, and load it all up and take it home. Well, that's it for today there, I think. I don't think I'm going to come back for another piece. I really don't have any need for it right now. And these are like a city bus. There's always more coming along, so if these disappear tomorrow, there's going to be another pile next week that I can choose from if I want to. But you'll notice I picked everything up, so we'll get going back to the shop, and I'll show you how we take these nails out. All right, so here we are back in the shop. I have unloaded the wood from the pallets that we disassembled earlier, and we're getting ready to, as promised, show you how I take the nails out and further disassemble these so that we can use them for some kind of project or another. So again, going back to the tools, we're not done with these yet. We're going to still need to use some crowbars, these pliers. I think these are fencing pliers, but I've had a lot of luck pulling nails out with these. And of course, I think it's important to have a pair of gloves, especially when you're dealing with all of the nails that we have. But I think the tool that I've found most useful is right here in this bucket. And really, you know, I picked it up online. I think it was $30 or $35, but it is a denailer. And really all it is a nail gun in reverse. It's got a little plunger here rather than something that drives nails down. It just drives a plunger down, which drives the nails back out. So you fit it over, you know, a nail like this. Let's see if I can get that in there. And you just pull the trigger and it just pushes it out. Get in. And then you can pull it out the other end. Sometimes it shoots out, sometimes it stays in there and you got to kind of pull it out, but you know, it's 99% of the way out. So that is, you know, a huge labor saver. And you know, what I do is get these gloves on here. What I do is I've got a 5-gallon bucket from one of the big box stores. I put some old towels or rags down to the bottom to cushion the ricochet, if you will, and I just put those in there. So if they go through like that one just did, without that towel down there, it would bounce up, maybe hit me in the eye, go somewhere, ricochet somewhere else in the shop. You know, what that does is it catches it down there softly, and then I can dispose of them as I need. So there you go. That's 2. See that one's still stuck in there, but doesn't take anything really to pull it out. And you can also use this tube to, there we go, straighten them out, pull that out, and that's one. So it's going to take some doing, but it's not going to take too long to get all of these done. I'm going to start with the boards that I don't have to disassemble first, get all those out of the way, and then I'll deal with disassembling these. So let's get to it. When I first got this, I was pushing this all the way down on there, and really what you need is for the plunger to come down with as much force as possible. So you need to give it some travel. Just put it on the end like that, and it'll push it down most of the way. That board's pretty much done. No, I got some more here, I guess, on the other side. I thought there was more. Sorry about the noise, folks. That's my compressor. But, you know, you're going to make a little noise here. Going to get a little sweaty. It does take some work. By the way, my compressor is over here in this box along with my other air-powered tools. Here's the nail gun that we just did another episode on fixing, and I'm using that in this current project that I'm getting this wood for. But everything fits real nice in here, and I found this, again, I love free, and I found this on the curb a month or so ago. It's just an old trunk on the curb at trash day, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with it, but I thought it was great. I thought it was neat. So I picked it up, and I brought it home, and found that it fit my compressor just fine and my other mini compressor just fine, so I put all those tools in there, and that's where they stay. All right, back to work. Well, there are all the nails that came out of those. So we've got all that wood ready to go for, for the next project or two that I had mentioned before, and we'll get going on those next. So there are, 1,000 different pallet busting videos out there on YouTube. This is how I do it. Everybody does it a little bit differently. Hopefully you can take something away from this that you can use if this is something that you're interested in. But I think it's a real great way to get some wood that doesn't cost you really anything other than some time for those projects that don't need the best kind of material. I hope you found this enlightening. I hope you found it enjoyable. I know I did, and I appreciate you being here. I will see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for stopping by.